She was exhausted. She'd worked all day, and all she wanted was to get inside her own building. A neighbor tapped his keycard ahead of her. The glass doors slid open, and she walked through right behind him. She lived there. She had her own card in her hand. Nothing about this felt wrong. Then he stopped, turned around, and told her, loudly, that she had bad manners. She just stood there, keys in hand, wondering what rule she'd broken that nobody had ever told her existed. There's a specific kind of confusion that hits you in Japan. It's the moment you realize you broke a rule you never knew existed. Nobody handed you a rule book. There was no sign on the wall, no line in the guide, no warning from a friend. And yet somehow, you were supposed to know. It happens quietly, at a doorway, at a counter, on a train. 1 second you feel fine. The next, you're the person who did the wrong thing, and you have no idea how. Welcome to the invisible rulebook. Here's the frustrating part. That keycard rule isn't random. Auto-lock buildings in Japan are built to stop tailgating, where one person's tap lets a stranger slip in behind them. So you tap your own card, you wait for the person ahead to pass, and then you tap again for yourself. One tap, one person. The insurance terms assume it, the building management assumes it, the neighbors assume it. The man who scolded her was defending something real. The trouble is, the reason lives in his head, not on the wall. He learned it years ago, from a building notice maybe, or from his parents, or from being scolded himself back when he was new. To him, the rule is obvious. To everyone else, it just looks like a stranger yelling about a door that's already wide open. And this is the pattern that catches people, again and again here. The rule makes sense once you know the why. The rule is even fair once you know the why. Getting to the why, though, that's the hard part. Nobody explains it until after you've broken it. Once you start noticing it, the invisible rulebook is everywhere. You learn to stand on the correct side of the escalator. Then you move to a different city, and the correct side flips, and suddenly you're in the way again. You sort your trash into careful categories, and the categories change, street by street. You carry your rubbish home instead of dropping it in a bin, because there are no bins. None of this was in the guidebook that taught you how to buy a train ticket. That book was for a different kind of visitor. The guidebook is written for the tourist. The rulebook is lived by the resident. And the space between those two is where most newcomers quietly collect small, invisible embarrassments. You learn you don't walk and eat. You learn that a coworker saying we should grab dinner sometime might be a real invitation, or might just be something polite people say. And the difference lives in a tone you can't hear yet. Nobody's being cruel. The rules are simply everywhere, and almost none of them are ever written down for you. And it isn't only foreigners who trip on this. Even people who grew up here hit the same wall. You come home after a few years abroad, and your instincts have quietly drifted. You start moving like the place you just left. You stand on the wrong side. You forget which day the burnable trash goes out. And suddenly you're the one getting corrected at your own front door, in your own hometown, in the country printed on your passport. The rulebook doesn't care how long you've been away, or that you're technically home, so you try to fix it the obvious way. You search Japanese etiquette rules, and you find a list, and you try to memorize it. 50 tips. Do this, don't do that. It feels like progress. It mostly doesn't work, and here's why. The real rules are contextual. They depend on the specific building, the specific neighborhood, the specific relationship, the specific tone in someone's voice. A list can tell you that bowing exists. It can't tell you how deep, to whom, or when a small nod is already plenty. A list can't tell you that this manager wants a reply within the hour, while that one finds the same speed pushy, It can't tell you that in this apartment you tap your card twice, and in the building across the street, nobody cares at all. Lists give you facts. What you actually need is judgment. Judgment is the thing that tells you which rule applies right now, in this room, with this person. And judgment only comes from someone who lives inside the culture and is willing to explain the parts that usually go unsaid. Here's what the people who settle in smoothly almost always have. It isn't a better app or a thicker guidebook. It's one or two local friends who tell them the truth without making it awkward. A friend is the one who says, "Oh, by the way, in this building you tap your own card. People are funny about it here." A friend tells you the dinner invitation was real. A friend catches the small mistake before it becomes the story a stranger yells at you about at your own front door. The unwritten rules finally get written down by the friend who says them out loud. That's the whole thing. Not a document, not a class, just a person who fills in the blank before you fall into it. The trouble is, this kind of friendship is exactly what feels hardest to build when you're new, or busy, or just back from years away. You can't schedule a local friend into existence. You can't force one. Or at least, you used to not be able to. Something about that has quietly changed. That's the reason we built SewaYou. It's a map-based app that shows you real people near you who actually want to meet. Maybe a local who can explain your neighborhood's quirks. Maybe another newcomer figuring out the same doors you are. You open the map, you see who's around, and you start a conversation. No swiping, no performance. Just people close by who are open to a real connection and to the kind of small, honest advice that keeps you from getting scolded at your own entrance. The invisible rulebook never fully disappears. It's woven too deep into the place for that. But it stops being scary when you have someone to ask. A doorway stops being a test. A quiet correction becomes a story you laugh about later because someone warned you first or laughed with you after. You don't need to memorize a whole country. You just need one person willing to let you in on how it really works. Ready to meet the people who will? SewaYou puts them on the map. Find Japanese friends nearby. Download SewaYou now.